So are you part of LOVB?
Yeah, so I was the first athlete about 2 years ago that they kind of approached with LOVB, and I've heard a lot of pitches for a league to start, and so immediately I was kind of like, I'll listen, but...
One thing I watched, especially with the McKibben brothers, is the four-man. We love four-man, the four-man world champions. How did that all come about? And what was that all about?
So... it was amazing. So I was in the USA Beach gym at the time, like kind of recovering, and they were kind of helping me because they were like, you've been in the indoor gym and we want to, see you progress and hopefully become a blocker on the beach. And one day I was in there and Sean Scott came up to me while I was working out and he's like, hey, do you have any interest in like a four-man tournament in Qatar? I was like, dude, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Booyaka Shell, welcome back to another episode of Can't Handle the Heat. Before I get into the guests, before I get into the hosts, I want to give a shout out to Waterman's Bar and Grill here, Hermosa Beach Pier. If we're not on the beach, chances are you find us here. It's the sickest bar around. I'll leave the link in the bio, the location. Shout out for them letting us host this beautiful podcast, as well as our sponsor, allvolleyball.com. Whether you're on the beach, the grass, the indoor, doesn't matter. They have all your volleyball needs. Number one volleyball retailer in the nation. Oost for 20% off. Link in the bio. And of course, we got our guests here. Jokesy, how are we doing?
I'm doing awesome. We're not guests, though.
Oh, host, my bad. Host, Jokes here, my bad.
We're doing good. We have a couple more guests than we imagined.
Yep. And then also, Micah, first time in the podcast.
First appearance in the summer, huh?
First
2
time.
months in the summer, and I'm here, boys. I'm here.
Good man. Of course, we have a lovely couple here, Kelsey Robinson and Brian Cook. Brian, thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
on,
having
guys.
us. Glad we could finally make this work.
Yeah, well, originally we were gonna do it in the middle of the year, but we were talking about pre-podcast here, how gnarly it is, like scheduling and wise. Because obviously, if you are playing a good team, you're playing 2-3 matches a week or whatnot.
Every 3 days.
That's
so
crazy.
It's pretty wild.
And then it was just crazy. So now we can do it in person. Now it's all good and everything. But yeah, well, first things first. What's your guys' schedule now that you get in the summer? I know you're playing more volleyball. And I want to kind of get into I have a few questions about your personal life as well. I know you're in the digging kind of vans and whatnot, and also playing our four-man in the Four Eyes. Shout out to that.
That's true. Yeah.
Shout out to that. But
first time on the beach in over a year.
Really?
And last time I was on the beach, I had to have surgery. So
really,
this was a success. Yeah.
Successful day. It was a short day. Day.
Yeah.
We're building up every year. We're gonna build up. We're gonna get more and more.
I kind of after the tournament, I was like kind of cramped. Three pool play matches.
Yeah,
I was like kind of cramping almost. I was like, dude, good thing we didn't make it out of pool.
I was cramping in the finals and the semis bad. Bad. And I puked 4 times for the finals, stretching, and then I went in, and then I got blocked 10 times, and then we lost, and then that was the match. It was a quick one. But what's your guys' schedule nowadays in the summer?
So right now I'm back with the national team, and this Friday I go to Korea for week 3 of VNL, and then we'll have finals week. We're hosting in Dallas, so if people are in Dallas, come watch us play. And then we have Norseka Olympic qualifier, and then back overseas.
And I'm sure you prefer having a lot of international tournaments in the United States.
Yeah, it's always fun to bring it back home. I think especially we're growing the game here so much, and we have 2 new leagues starting next year and then the following year, and Dallas is just a hub for club volleyball, so I think it'll be a great turnout, and you have some of the world's best players coming, so I feel like it'll be a really awesome crowd that'll get to experience what the national team players have been doing for the last forever.
Right.
Going overseas, right?
No,
when USA Volleyball decides to put certain events in locations like Louisiana or West Virginia, do the players have much say into locations of that, or
no? We don't have any say. It's actually really funny because when we finally got to host the Olympic qualifier, Karch had sent out a text saying we're getting to host, big news, so exciting, and whoever guesses what city it's in gets a gift card. I don't even know what he gave. It was some kind of prize. And so he had listed 8 cities, and they were all Honolulu, New York, Chicago, really amazing places. And then one of them was Shreveport. And you just don't really think about it. And so nobody guessed it of all the players. But it ended up being a great event, and that was my first time to Shreveport. So,
Wait, where is that?
Louisiana.
Okay.
Ooh, and you, if it's
Yeah.
in the States, do you ever visit her and go watch?
Shreveport, I didn't quite make it down there. No.
He's only
but-
come in the States one time.
Well, Anaheim, Long
Okay,
Beach.
Anaheim does. Okay, in outside of
The
California.
drivable ones.
If it's,
You're
in,
making
if
it
it's in
to-
California, I'm
Yeah.
there for sure.
He came to Nebraska,
That's
but
sick.
Brian comes overseas with me quite a bit throughout
Gotcha.
my career. So I've been playing now for 10 years, and he's not all of the years, but most seasons he comes with me. So I try not to drag him around when we're here in the States.
Got you.
That's the thing. Every couple that lives overseas has such a, I feel like has a different, like it's similar, but it's also very different in terms of like what their daily life looks like, and it depends on the city you're living in.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to explain to a lot of people what it's like living over there. And for couples, like obviously people who are there can relate, but for you, like living, obviously in Turkey past years, and I want you to give a quick update too on your future club as well, or where you're at for Kelseys, so people know, because people ask us all the time, and it's hard to know. But for you, like, what is a typical week and stuff when you're overseas? What do you like? Do you have like tasks? Obviously, you're running businesses and stuff, but just as like a partner of somebody who's playing overseas, what that looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people it's like after a while, like the kind of the beauty of it, like the part where you think you're traveling and you're abroad and all that, it kind of wears off and it's just like home. Like you're just living. You know, I go to the gym every day. I like go to the store. We go out to eat. It's like I speak Italian good enough to like get by. So like literally when I'm over there for the winter, it's like I'm just living at home, but just in Italy. So it like doesn't really change, and like all my businesses can kind of be run from afar. So it's like it's just home. Yeah.
I will say that it has not always been this easy. Like the way he talks about it now, it's definitely been us finding our rhythm, and like I never want to be the reason he's there for me, you know, but that's really the reality of it. And so I feel like Bri has mastered like his rhythm, you know, what it actually takes. Like it's much harder for him than I think even I know, because I'm getting, you know, the social side of things with my teammates. I'm fulfilling my work every day. I'm constantly surrounded by people, where the reality is like he has only me a lot of the time, and that's never an easy thing. So there's been years where like I think even our first year in Turkey, after 1 month, I was like, I think you need to go home, because like I want you to be happy too, and right now you're not. So like it's definitely been just finding rhythm together and like what that means for us.
It definitely took a while to get to this point. That first year was like kind of rug pull on my indoor and beach career. It was like I was playing, I mean, dude, imagine like the schedule that you guys are so accustomed to. Every day, just volley, workout, everything, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I can't even do any of this anymore. And like I switched to the beach and was like wanting to train, wanting to grind, but like I couldn't even go practice because my knee was so bad. And then kind of in limbo of like, it's a cartilage issue, so there's not any really good solutions. So it was like, just what am I even doing? Finally, I found like a good doctor that specializes in cartilage and like pulled the trigger on a surgery. But even that was like a shot in the dark, and like 50% odds of it helping, and it kind of helped. Then it was just such a weird time for me. So like during that process of like coming back from the surgery and stuff, I was like, all right, I gotta like start working on the next step. Like I was talking to you at Waterman's here, I was like, this whole indoor volleyball thing, it doesn't last forever. It ends quick, and like when it's over, it's good to have something to fall back on, and you guys are building that right now, which is like so cool.
There you go, John.
No, yeah, that's exactly kind of how we view it. And you talk to a lot of volleyball players, and like that transition is always the toughest thing. And because they, like you said, they don't think about it. Especially when you come out of college, you just go overseas and you're doing that and that's just your life. And it's like, it's difficult for some people. But I think the biggest thing too, especially for people and like couples who are overseas, is like, I had literally a teammate, and he wouldn't let his wife go to matches and stuff. And I'm like, how is this person happy? It was crazy. All of us are just like, what? How does this work?
I'll like miss some matches, but it's when they're playing like the worst team
Yeah.
in the league. Like if it's a big match, I'm there, or even like a middle team match. But like if it's 3-0 and I'm like, we're 45 minutes from the gym, I'm
always
not
watch,
always gonna
though.
come. Yeah, I'll put it
Yeah.
on the
We
TV,
live
but
40
like
minutes from the
some
gym.
of them are like.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, she'll win in like 28 minutes. I'm like, dude, I'm not driving over there for a 28-minute
Yeah.
match.
Wait, so you live 40 minutes from the gym?
So I play for Imoco Conegliano in Italy, and Conegliano is 40 minutes from the gym, which is in Treviso, and it's important for us to, be in the city, see the fans. We have an amazing fan base. It's very similar, actually, to like the University of Nebraska. Just a very loyal fan base. We sell out most games, and you couldn't ask for like a better environment. So it's, I think, important for our club that we live closer to the people that support us.
That's sick. And then when it comes to, like, obviously it's a really nice club, big club like that, and obviously you got a husband and everything, do you have, like, in terms of, like, housing-wise, like, I know Taylor Averill, he came on and he said, yeah, I say the club sends, hey, this is how much budget we have for a house or whatever. And then he picks his own, right? Do you, for your housing, do you just kind of, like, whatever you kind of give me, or do you have, like, your choice?
Well, we've been fortunate where clubs have given us really nice places to live. In Imoco, they built a whole facility for all the girls. So we basically live in an apartment complex together, which you would think is like, oh, I don't want to see my teammates after we play every 3 days and I see you every day. But we actually do a really nice job of like giving each other space. And then our physios come down below. So like if I have treatment at 11, I wake up at 10:55 and like roll out and I'm like, oh, my back hurts. And then they just like massage you. And so I've been really good about getting therapy, which I'm never really good about getting.
Wow.
So, it's really nice.
I'll even like jump down there some days, like, hey, can you like work on my neck? I've been working out too hard. Like, can you give me
so
some?
sick.
And they'll
Dude,
do it.
I have a funny story about Zana. Her first year we were in France. I don't think I've ever shared this. And she was obviously struggling like with the whole transition. And all she had to do was like lift one time a day was like our goal. And there would be multiple times that she would go to the place and sit in the car for like an hour and not get out of the car and not lift. And so I would get home and it like after my afternoon practice, like, Kate, like, how's your lift? She's like, I couldn't like walk in there. I was too afraid. And I would have to just drive back there and go into the lift with her and sit down and like count out her reps. And that was like for the first month, I was like,
That's sick.
I was
though.
like,
It's actually
accountability,
so
man.
cute.
Yeah,
I would
that's
like
awesome.
very
practice
supportive.
and come home and like, Kate, did you lift? She's like, nope. I'm like, all right, get in the car. I'm freaking making you lift. And so I would go
Dude,
there and
it's
like
intimidating,
walk her
though.
through her. Yeah, it was.
And
Like,
that was in
nobody
France?
spoke. Yeah.
I mean, dude, France is even worse. Like,
Yeah.
they're not the most welcoming people.
No, and nobody spoke English, and she was just like, yeah, she had never left LA
Definitely
even,
scary.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it was a lot for her. And so I
Yeah.
definitely feel you guys on that transition phase. It's
Yeah, but once you conquer
gnarly.
it, like the first time, I mean, I've definitely been there. In Turkey, it was like, where do I even go? Like public gyms are, it's
Yeah.
like Guido
Turkey.
hour and just like, just
Yeah.
bodybuilders only.
100%.
So it's even weirder when you go in and do
Yeah.
like a workout for sport. Like,
yeah.
it's weird. But
Well, the problem is every time he comes into it, because in Turkey they always let him lift in our gym, but every time he comes in, my coaches are like, he can be a practice player, right? Like he can help us out, and he's like,
that's
no,
true.
I'm broken, sorry, but we peppered one time, and my coach was like, can he come tomorrow? Like he's really good. So that's it. It would
know
be
the
really
background?
fun if he could practice with us.
Would you ever? I have a question. Do you guys ever play against each other, like in like games or anything like that?
We have like limited that like competition.
we used
Purposeful?
to a lot. Yeah,
Purposeful
Dude, she's
limitations?
the most competitive person in the world.
I
Wow.
tend to, like,
It doesn't
ruin
end.
everything.
Yeah, like, and like I'm competitive too. I won't like rub it in or anything, but I won't let her win.
Okay.
Like we'll play short court, and
Yeah, you're gonna win. You're
Yeah.
gonna try your best.
yeah, I'm gonna win.
Kelsey.
And she's like, all right, we're playing again and again and again, and then like I won't let her win.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't. It's like a day or two before she'll like talk to me again.
I usually storm off into the ocean, drown my sorrows.
I just played a tournament with my girlfriend the other day. Actually, we ended up winning. Thank God. Because for me, I don't. With loss, that's one thing about a professional that you have to like learn is like learning how to deal with loss. I'm still kind of like learning that. Luckily, I've been part of like successful programs, and just like even when we go play 21st Street, I'll go, and if I have a bad day, I just won't talk. I'll just be so mad for like an hour and a half. And then when your significant other is there, it's like you feel like
You don't want to be that person.
Exactly,
you know?
exactly. No, you don't want to be that person. But I was like, I just need space, I need time right now, anytime. Just like don't like. They're like, why are you so mad?
Like
There's one
12:30
game.
on like a Monday
Yeah.
against Chops and Mango.
I just get like so furious. So I think that's also kind of understanding like after games like what she needs or whatnot? Do you like brush it off pretty easily?
I don't listen to like a lot of people as far as like people's advice. Like I trust very few people, and I actually really trust his eye. So I'm always asking like, what did you see? Let's talk through it. What do you think? And I definitely really respect it, like his opinion. I think he's got a good vision for the court, and we play the same kind of position. So I don't know. It's helpful. I definitely spin it in my head over and over and over again until I've like worked through it, and usually give myself like 24 hours. And then the next day I like run through the video, and it never feels as bad as it feels
of course.
when you're like in it. And then when you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, like these were some really simple things that I could have done better. But I think video really helps me a lot to like clarify what it is I need to do right the next time.
How did you guys meet? Sorry, Bray.
So we met when he was playing professionally in Padova in Italy, and we had a mutual friend come into town, and I actually had known Taylor Averill from the summer who he was playing with. So I had a game like the next day, but our friend was like, I want to meet up in Venice with these guys and it'll be really fun, whatever. And so it's actually like a whole thing, but my grandma had just passed away like that day, and I couldn't go home for the funeral, and so it was like really hard, and I was like, I don't want to go out, like I don't want to whatever. And he was like, let's just get your mind off of it, let's just go. So finally I was like, okay, we'll do it. And then we went to a bar, and I walked in and I met him, and in my eyes he's like, looks at me and he's like, hi, I'm Brian. And I was like,
Nice.
hi.
Who is?
So I don't know, and then we like danced in the street and stuff, and then he came to my game the next day. But I always like feel like my grandma's like blessing was like him in my life.
Gotcha.
I didn't know
That's
any
really
of that.
special.
I was just like, wow, who's that girl?
Nice.
But the beginning of our
She
relationship.
didn't open it up with that? Just
No,
right off the bat,
no.
just hello, I'm Kelsey, and
And these are all the things that led me to you.
yeah.
No, the beginning of our relationship was like fairy tale, though. It was like Italy. We're either in Venice or up in Canigliano, which is a beautiful town, or Padova, which is also super cool. And then we would like our fourth date, we went down to Tuscany. She was playing in Florence. I was playing in Milan. I had like a team doctor or something drive my car to Milan. After my match, I drove to Florence, picked her up, and we went down into Tuscany and rented a castle. It was just like
Wow.
the
A
top
castle?
dude. So it was just
It
the
was
top
like
suite.
$150 a night.
No, it was
like,
less than that. It was like 56 euros.
Oh my
I still
God.
remember it. It was the top suite in this castle, but it was like early April, so complete off season. And they're like doing maintenance on the pool and stuff, so the pool's not even open. 56 euros for like the top of the tower.
Wow.
And
That's insane.
we like went and stayed in there. We had the whole castle to ourselves, went hot air ballooning, wine tasting, like had the most insane meals. It was like,
Wow.
that was like,
kinda
we didn't
just
even
have to
know
get
each other
married
then.
That's tough to beat right
yeah,
there.
we truly didn't even know each other at the time. We were just like, let's do it.
Have you ever looked? This is random, but I thought about it when you were answering the other question. Have you ever looked into like like the stuff they do in like the Central
look at it
America?
all.
Like, have you ever thought about that?
I've done it all.
You've done
I've
it
done
all.
it all, yeah.
And it didn't help.
I did stem cells in Turkey and Mexico. I did a surgery that was like they took some cartilage out, grew it in a lab, and put it back in. That was like the
Wow.
best chance I had. The next one that the doctors like, if you still like want to have relief and like nothing else is working. Right now I'm at a decent spot. Like I can hike and surf and play golf. Like,
Okay.
that's good enough for now.
Yeah.
But if that gets worse, then the next one would be like a bone and cartilage graft from a like cadaver, and like
Oh.
take mine out and put that one in. So like
Wow.
that's where we're at with my knee.
What is the
No.
actual like what's the diagnosis on it?
So basically when I was like 18, I like super injured my left ankle. Like I missed my whole senior high school year of volleyball. It was like preseason game against James Shaw's team actually.
Okay.
Which
And it was in
high
the
school is
fifth
really?
set.
Sorry, because we're from the Bay.
SoCal High School in Santa Cruz.
Nice.
But we were playing St. Francis. It was the fifth set, and we had no business being there. And I hit a pipe and landed on my middle and just blew out my ankle. And then like a couple weeks later, so I'm in a boot. I can't touch my heel to the ground. I'm walking down this staircase at school with my crutches, and I trip at the top and jump all the way down and land just on my right leg.
Oh,
and I felt like this huge, like,
that's terrible.
like I felt this huge scrape, but then the pain kind of went away, and I was like, oh, that was super weird. But then ever since then, it just like has been slowly grinding out more and more cartilage, and like when I came back, it started bugging me a little bit, but like throughout my college career, it was like pain pill or like anti-inflammatories the whole time, like barely practicing, games only, and then my pro career too was like matches only, not really any practice. It was brutal.
And how long did
That's
it
a tough
last?
story to hear because it's like sounds so avoidable or like just so like
Yeah.
Way to go,
Like,
bro.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've lived it. You don't need to
No,
hear
I
it from
know.
me, but that's a
It sucks because, like, looking
That
back,
sucks.
I don't know if it would have happened either way or if that was for sure it or what. But
yeah,
it sticks out in my mind.
Right.
You know, you don't
Yeah.
forget falling down like a 9 set of stairs.
That's
to
the one that
landing
you
on
heard.
One leg. Yeah.
The noise of the crack.
Because you have it. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, I was gonna ask when Stanford and Nebraska play each other. Do you guys bet at all, or you guys don't compete? I forgot.
Well,
But, like, on
actually,
the women's side, I
she
guess.
went to Tennessee for 3 years and
Yeah.
then Nebraska for 1. And Stanford, I'm not a baseball guy at all, but I guess Stanford and Tennessee game
Also the
7
volleyball
Today.
baseball is today.
Tennessee
And
won.
we just found that out
Oh.
today.
Should
Wait,
I
did
not have ruined
Tennessee
it?
win?
Way to ruin it, man.
Oh, did Tennessee win?
I,
We don't even know.
I don't.
I
keep
don't
up
know
with
if you
any
were
of it.
recording. You looked at me like you recorded it, and we're gonna watch it later.
No,
If you care
no.
that. I'm like, I think Tennessee won, but
Brutal.
the but do you? We were talking a little bit before. Do you tie yourself more to Tennessee or Nebraska?
That's a
Like, if
good
people ask.
question. I think because I left Tennessee on not so great terms, or like there was a reason I left. I kind of just identify with Nebraska, but I think there is such like I don't know, there's so many good memories from Tennessee that I had with like so many teammates and the school and stuff. So there's a part of me that definitely really wants to go back, but I haven't been back since I left, which was like 2012. So yeah, I don't know. It's just easier to say Nebraska than like the whole story.
When's the last time you've been back to Nebraska?
They've hosted quite a few tournaments within the last however many years with national teams. So probably like once a year, once or twice every other year. I don't know.
Okay. Speaking of tournaments, I have one question for Brian, then I have a couple questions for you about the new upcoming leagues. Brian, one thing I watched, especially in the Kibben brothers, is the 4-man. We love 4-man, the 4-man world champions. How did that all come about? Like what was that all about? Because that doesn't happen anymore, does it?
No. So, it was amazing. So I was in the USA Beach gym at the time, like kind of recovering, and they were kind of helping me because they were like, you've been in the indoor gym, and we want to, see you progress and hopefully become a blocker on the beach. And one day I was in there, and Sean Scott came up to me while I was working out, and he's like, hey, do you have any interest in like a 4-man tournament in Qatar? I was like, dude, yeah. Are you kidding me? And he's like, all right, well, I think it was like Kame and K-Spear were playing together at the time, and they were going to field a team, but then they like, I don't know if they had another tournament or what happened. And he's like, well, like we need to submit a roster like tomorrow. And I was like, let me see what I can do. So I immediately called the McKibben brothers and Crab, who's like one of my best friends. And I was like, boys, we got to do this. We got to go to Qatar and play 4-man, like in the World Beach Games. Like, it sounds too cool to pass up. And all of them immediately were like, yep, okay. And then we had 2 more spots to fill. And we were like, dude, who would be gnarly? Troy and Casey Patterson. We were like, if Riley...
a stupid team in one day?
Yeah,
That's
in
a
one day.
ridiculous team to get.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think either Riley or Madison got Casey, and then Troy was like a no-brainer because we thought he was going to play middle for us.
Yeah.
We didn't know, dude. It was so weird. It was short court.
It was small court.
Short
Small
court,
court.
antennas, block, and 2 touches. So it was like
okay.
it was like FIVB beach rules, but 4 guys on the court. And it made it so interesting. Like, we were trying to play like 21st Street 4-man at first, just like set the guy on the good side and like bang. And that didn't work at all. We lost to like these German kids that were like 18, and we were like, dude, that was weird. They were running like an indoor offense. So we totally switched our strategy. I went to middle. Riley was just like setting shoot sets to Crab and like 1 balls to me. Oh, dude, it was so fun.
It was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
I feel like I would love to see 4s become a professional league the way that was, and then hopefully make it to the Olympics, because I think beach is fun to watch, but I think beach fours is like
Yes.
The best.
exhilarating.
100%.
The
Like,
best.
It's
100%.
so high level, like the
Oh, it's
defense and
unreal.
everything, especially men's. That was fun to watch.
Yeah.
I was like a little bit upset because we had a tournament in Puerto Rico and USA Volleyball was paying to have a guest come with, and so I was like, it was this exact same time, but we were watching and everybody was like cheering for them, and it ended up being really fun.
They
Oh,
made
so
some great
sick.
videos out of it.
They
too.
did.
Yeah,
they
I saw
did.
it.
When I
We
go
watch
back
all
and
of
watch those, it's like
They
the
did.
best memories.
Oh,
it was
so
so
good.
much fun.
Yeah.
So good. The vlogs and the
level was
games.
so high. Even the women's, because Carissa, his sister, played for the women.
Yeah, I remember.
And they
With
won-
Katie.
won it too, right?
Yeah,
I
they
think
won.
Katie was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And Hartong?
yeah.
Yeah.
Their
That's
team
a
was
fun
stacked.
group.
And
Yeah.
Kelly Reeves, right?
Kelly Reeves, Allie Wheeler, and then who else? Oh, Gina Urango.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That was
Yeah,
their
that makes
six.
sense.
They were
Solid.
good.
Great.
Yeah. Dude,
They
it
are
was
good.
so fun. Well,
Hartong isn't.
So the thing is,
next
Brazil
level, man.
brought like their top women to it. It was like their two top twos teams came,
Oh.
and the final was like those girls against like Olympic gold medalists and bronze and
Wow.
silver medalists. It was gnarly.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
sick.
four's a different game. People don't realize that.
Yeah,
Four,
it
do you
is.
play?
It
You play
is.
a lot of fours?
No.
Why not? Oh, I mean, you're busy a lot, but
Well, when we were living up here, I did a lot of
We
like
won Snack
A's.
Fest. Or-
Yeah, when I was, but we haven't lived up here in a year, so
Yeah.
that's probably why.
Yeah.
But I love it. I like playing defense.
yeah.
It's fun. But every time I get to six man, like I know it's sixes, and everyone's like, "Oh, we have an Olympian on our team. Like she's gonna be really good." And then I get out there and I like cannot clear the tape. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry."
She says this, but she won 6-man.
I know, but I'm so bad that nobody can time it. So that, and I'm always early.
You're
I'm like-
throwing them off. That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I'm just bad at beach. Like it's just so hard, and like it looks exhausting. Like
Yeah.
It's and even doubles doubles players aren't that great at fours because there's that not all the time. Sometimes it's translation or translates. What do I translate?
Yeah.
I feel like
Over.
Skills translate.
doubles is like chess.
Yeah,
and,
some more
like,
shots and stuff.
Totally
Yeah.
different than 6-on-6 indoor.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Originally, our date for this was May 13th, and it was like it started getting sketchy with all of our schedules because we had to book it really early to book like this to get the courts for our 4-man last week. And if it was May 13th, we were gonna have Anders, Christian, TJ. We're all gonna play, which would have been. I would have loved to see Anders and Christian, the Norwegians, come and play 4-man because those are like there's like you said. I think there's a few guys that like would be like dominant like.
I mean, dude,
fours players.
Anders
Yeah.
on
Anders
any volleyball court.
anything. Yeah.
It would've
That
been-
guy's
Not
gonna
an
win.
indoor. I wouldn't say an indoor because he did indoor. He did indoor for about 6
Yeah,
months,
and
and
he
he
was
wasn't.
Norwegian league.
He was.
And he was yeah.
He was
Really?
okay.
Yeah.
He was okay.
What position did he play?
Right side.
Why wouldn't he? He's good enough ball control to play
I
outside.
know it was. He played like.
But it should
3
be
years
easier for
ago.
him to explain right side,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah,
he's to
true.
dominate even more.
True.
But he didn't.
Could they not option him or anything?
I don't know.
Just option.
Instead of
He played 2
instead of
touches.
You
the
know,
center?
Christian was a middle. Soren was a middle
Really?
before he played beach.
I did not know that.
I'm learning a lot.
Fun fact, he could pass.
I'm
nails.
learning a lot.
Crazy. I don't know. But
Your
I think
questions about the league
yeah,
too.
yeah,
I
I
want to
question
know
about the
about
league.
that too.
So are you part of LOVB?
Yeah, so I was the first athlete about 2 years ago that they kind of approached with LOVB, and I've heard a lot of pitches for a league to start, and so
Right.
immediately I was kind of like, I'll listen, but
Yeah.
it's probably a no for me. But I was like, I'll listen. Okay. And I think why I'm on board even now is just the format and the mindset behind how they're going to do it is to provide a sustainable league that's going to last over time, because I think we've seen, investors, billionaires come in and throw money and say we're going to make a league, and then it fizzles out eventually over time. And League One is doing it more from a grassroots approach. They're right now in the process of creating and buying up clubs that will now be League One clubs, and then those clubs will filter into the pro team. So 5 or 6 youth clubs will have one pro team, and in the first year we're going to have 6 pro teams and hopefully move up to 8 and then eventually grow as it grows. But we have some amazing players signed on board for the first year, so I wasn't expecting that, but I'm really excited to just know that the girls are putting everything they have to make this happen.
Yeah, to commit to it is
Yeah.
a real statement.
And I
feel
think
like.
that's what it's
For
going to
top
take.
women's players,
It's going
at
to
least.
take everyone turning down overseas to come here and say we're going to make this happen, and this is what we want for our sport.
To be a part of that's probably the sickest thing ever.
Yeah, I think for me, it's about paying it back to like what the sport has given me. It's also an amazing opportunity to play in the States, and I could play until I'm 40 if I wanted to, but obviously I don't want to be overseas until I'm 40, and like we want to start a family and stuff. So for personal reasons, it's obviously a great investment, but I think like I see so many players have to stop playing because they're not one of like the top 10% in the world that can be a foreigner or have a spot overseas. There's just so many like middle of the pack players that could be amazing. They just need time, and you don't have that time or luxury to like develop, right? You have to be good right away. And so I feel like it's just going to be an amazing opportunity for a lot of players. And also like the mental health side of things, like being an athlete overseas, so you guys know, like there's a lot of like mental health problems, and you struggle a lot, you miss a lot of things, and I don't know. I think I'm just really excited to give more opportunities to more women.
Are there some players that are part of League One that aren't playing in League One? Because I saw like a TikTok and I was like, wait, I saw that person signed a contract overseas or whatnot, but they're still helping with League One, or how does that work?
So League One's first league will be January 2025. Okay. So a lot of players are either on the Athletes Council or marketing roles for League One, and just maybe like a face behind it. But I think right now they've announced maybe 8. I can't remember specifically, but about like between 6 or 8 players that will like officially be on board.
How does that work with like contracts then? Like, so you just,
that's tough.
And how do you get to choose where you go? Because you weren't like at a League One club as a kid?
Right now, it's obviously like a little bit tricky because you obviously like want to protect your reputation like as a player and like have an opportunity to play this middle year of 2023-24. So like I had signed a 2-year to play in Imoko, and before I signed the next contract for Love, I had to like go talk to my president and say like, this is something I really want for our sport and I believe in. So like I just want to be very clear about it, and I think it's always good to just have that conversation, and different players are going about it, whether they have contracts or not for the next years. But right now, I think we'll have I'm part of the Athletes Council and one of the originals, so I'll have maybe a say in like 1 or 2, but I was like, put me wherever. I'm in America. Like you can put me on any team and I will be okay because I get to play in my home country, so I don't care.
Wait, I have
a couple.
I have so many questions.
Go.
Okay, and so how do you? So say you're in a like League One club that your professional team is this one. Do they just have your players' rights? And if so, like how do you negotiate for pay, or like say like Dallas is gonna pay me nothing because I was a part of a club in Dallas, and like they just can tell me what it is. Like I don't get to go to Ohio or something. How does that work?
The way the pay works is basically we have to look at it from a different lens, right? Like it's not the same like you would traditionally overseas, just here's your contract and you can negotiate more money, etc. Because it is a startup, and they raised enough money to make it last within the first few years without needing like more money, but to some degree you have to like figure out how that's going to work. So they have 3 tiers, and it's based off of experience and position basically, and that's a flat like fee for every tier. And then hopefully the teams will over time begin to be autonomous, and then hopefully we'll start to have agents and presidents and pick your players the normal way, but in the beginning you have to kind of come from a different lens basically.
Okay, that makes sense. The tier system makes sense.
And these girls are starting like being part of the League One team since like 12 and under, since they're partnering with a club. Is that how it works? Or like so like you're part of that club, that means you're in a filter system like in Europe,
like a pipeline.
Yeah, like a pipeline.
Yeah, I think that would, if you would want that, I think that's for sure the option. But we do have to think about college, right? Like even if you're part of this club but you want to go play in college, that doesn't necessarily mean like you'll come back to that club. Maybe you'll want to go to Nebraska because that's where your college was, or something like that, right? I think those conversations will be had down the road, just because like we are so early in the
Sorry if we're grilling you and you don't have the answers.
I'm
sorry, I just have a lot of questions.
It's all brand new. I think we're going to also see a lot of contracts like high school girls signing, maybe either skipping college or taking NIL money from their pro team that they're going to go back to, like just stuff that we've never really
Yeah,
seen
never
before.
seen.
We
Yeah.
have
Or
some
like-
college girls with NIL and League One that are
Yeah,
part
there
of the
are
program.
NIL
So,
girls. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think honestly with NIL, new leagues happening, and just like we're all trying to figure out how this
Yeah.
is really going to work. And I don't know if we necessarily have all the answers, but the exciting part for me is that we're investing in volleyball.
It needs to be
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most popular. Like, women's volleyball is insane.
It's the
Yeah.
number one
Like, it's
youth
in-
played sport.
Yeah. These tournaments that my sisters are going to, is
Oh,
like
dude, it's insane.
like over 20,000 girls. I'm like, dude, this is how is there no professional league? There's like the WNBA or soccer and no volleyball, and volleyball is huge.
But this is my, I guess, one. I always ask people who are part of, like, could we be interviewed? We had Claire Chaussee. She's part of, what's the other league called again?
PVF.
PBF. Well, first of all, do you think it's good to have two startup leagues at the same time, especially when you're starting to?
Well, 3 too. Like,
Three.
if they're
Well, you have
athletes
AU.
unlimited.
I mean, is that?
like-
I mean,
Oh,
are
that's
one,
right.
are leagues allowed to play in each other's leagues, and two, do you think it's good for the sport as well, or good
Great
for?
question.
Yeah.
They're actually the exact same time, PVF and LOVB, so it'll be January to April, and PVF is actually starting this coming year. So, you know, I think in an ideal world, we would want all of that money, all of that investment going to one league to make one league really successful. But I mean, we've talked about it, and the NFL started, the NBA started.
Like
there
a
was
merger,
multiple-
ABA and
Ah,
NBA.
I
that's
think
true.
it's inevitable.
It's
It
gonna
is.
have- they're gonna
It
have a
has
merger
to.
for sure.
Like Live Golf just popped out
Exactly.
of nowhere and already merged with PGA
Right.
Tour.
Yeah.
Like, say what you want about that, but
Yeah.
there's, I think
In my head, I was
something-
thinking merger too, for sure.
Yeah,
there should be.
I mean, there's just not enough space to go from 0 to 2/3. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Athletes Unlimited still exists too.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
going to be 3
I
leagues
think
in 2 years, and there were 0 2 years ago.
yeah.
The best part is that people are putting money towards volleyball. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
we have 2 leagues. Well, that's
Yeah.
actually
That's a
more
good way to look
opportunity
at it, yeah.
for more women to be able to play. Like, I can't tell you how many girls I know playing this year for PVF. And for me, like, as much as I am a supporter of Love, I am just excited for so many
Yeah.
women to get to play because there's never been that opportunity.
Yeah, of course.
My question, so the question that I had that I kind of asked a lot of people is, obviously you're closer to home than we are on this, but in terms of viewership, in terms of your target audience, what we and maybe it's the type of videos we make, but maybe it's just us. We girls probably don't want to watch us or anything like that, but we see a lot of time and a lot of, I guess, take that WNBA for example. Take a lot of the female-led sports that are trying to get females to watch. The viewership isn't as high because I've noticed that men are more likely to watch sports than women.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go about trying to attract those girls? Because for example, take Nebraska, they just have a filter system. Obviously, they get personal connections like you, but in terms of once you're graduated, they're not paying attention anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They just, all right, who's the next freshman coming in? You know, so they have this culture. So how do you build that LOVB and get the girls to watch the sport?
Well, that's why I think the way LOVB is doing it is really
Got
important
you.
because it is that grassroots like community, and we will actually be training and playing in the gyms with the club girls. So every
Sick.
day we're going to be interacting. Every day they're watching the highest level. They're looking up to us. We get to connect with them, and I think that builds that fan base of like, oh, I want to go watch Jordan Poulter play because like I see her every single day. I want to watch
Right.
Jordan Thompson play. They're bringing their parents, they're bringing their friends, and already, like we said, like it's the number one youth
Yeah.
played sport. So I don't know how you'll necessarily like bring more women into watching sports in general, but I
Right.
think in terms of volleyball specific, like I think just having that like audience like every day interacting with the players is going to be really important.
Smart. That's really
This
smart.
is so scary for other countries that have to compete against women's volleyball, because like, you guys already won the gold medal, and these like the whole pipeline doesn't. We always talk about like, men or boys here don't get to see like high level volleyball because it's overseas, and same with the women as of right now. And like, imagine never being able to watch like LeBron James or Stephen Curry. Like the basketball level would be really low. Like no pullback threes, no Euro steps, like all the moves that you get to see in the NBA you practice at like 12 years old. Like volleyball, there's a huge disconnect. And I feel like bringing those people like in the gym into like already thousands of girls playing in like America, having all the resources, and like I feel like there's going to be some domination on the women's side from the U.S. like going forward when you have a league home? Do you feel like you'd agree?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been USA's biggest like hiccup is that we have college, and so you go to college, and so you miss those like a lot of these girls. Like for example, like Bella Hawk, she's one of the best opposites in the world. I play with her at Imoko. She's been playing since
crazy.
She's nuts.
Yeah, she's nuts.
She's nuts.
But she's been playing forever, and it's so funny. I'm always like, wait, you're 23. I think maybe she's 23 now, but she just seems like, in terms of playing, she seems like she's like 28 because of how much experience she has. And we don't have that opportunity. I mean, you could, but it's rare, I think, to go right out of high school overseas. And then it's kind of like a catch-up game, but I think we catch up fast. And once Americans really catch up to that level, we're right there with the best in the world. And I think it's also awesome that we do have our college degrees because like we talked about at the beginning, you go overseas and it's just you. So like, what are you going to do with your time? How are you going to set yourself up to be successful? And like, I don't know. My first couple of years, I like twiddled my thumbs and watched Friends on repeat. And then I was like, I can't do this. Like, I have so many passions. And like, I tell my girls all the time, like, whatever you love to do, you don't have to wait till you're done to decide to do it. Try it now, whatever that means. Go to school while you're playing, try it now, and then if it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. But you're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna find that niche that like really makes you passionate, and then you're gonna have set it up already, so when volleyball's over, it's up and going, and you don't have to like decide what's next, you know?
It's kind of nice. You get like a safety net.
Keep you sane
like
too.
You have a job that gives you a lot of free time to like figure out your next job. So use the free time well.
You're
dude,
earning. You don't have
financially.
to like invest with the fear of like, well, I need that money, right? Like I started my clothing brand and like it was a big investment and it was scary, and I'm still learning every single day how to navigate that, but I'm also still playing, and that gives me that nice little cushion of like, well, it doesn't have to be perfect, you know?
That's sick. And then so a few more questions about the league. How many teams were they? Said 5 or how many teams?
6 in the beginning.
6. And then what locations are those?
So it's Atlanta, Wisconsin, Salt Lake.
Is it Lincoln
Nebraska,
or Omaha?
Omaha.
Gotcha.
Houston.
Did you say Houston? Yeah.
And then there's one that hasn't been announced yet.
Yeah.
That I can't
No
say.
West Coast.
And
No
those
West
they
Coast
have
to
the announced
start.
one. Oh no!
No,
No, Hawaii.
Yeah,
Hawaii would be
No,
No,
sick.
California.
Hawaii would be so sick.
Oh, Hawaii
would
would
be-
be, but travel, you know.
The expenses
Yeah,
would
okay,
be
fair,
so
fair,
much
yeah.
money.
All right.
Wisconsin,
Just
Hawaii.
saying, it would
We
be
were
nice.
talking about last week AVP, and obviously the business behind that, and there's always been so much about that, and it's been sold and bought. But we were talking about like the model that they're trying to create, and like even recently, it's like it's a really professional model and stuff. But back in the days, like you just hear about the 6 stories and how like the types of parties, and we always talk about like in the beach, like that needs to be the model. Like you need to create a ginormous party out of this event, and figure out like how you're gonna obviously profit and stuff from this event. But right now, obviously, we don't know a ton about it, but just from an outsider, as you like looking in, it's like becoming like almost too professional to an extent to us for the model to last and be like sustainable. So what do you think, like on the women's side, what do you think? Obviously, like getting the girls and stuff involved, but in terms of like the environment of games and what they're trying to create with that, what do you think should be the direction of where that's going?
Yeah, so what's I think a really good move by League One is that they're pairing the competition weekends with youth, like juniors tournaments.
Oh, okay.
So you'll go to these huge club events, and then we'll have games there where people can watch and see. So I think that's just going to be really smart to A, grow the game, but B, generate audience, because you're there.
Yeah.
It's in the convention center, like
Yeah.
Stadium court.
So they kind of modeled the schedule kind of like the Japanese. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Japanese league.
Yeah.
So you play
Okay, yes.
Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And 4 teams travel to one weekend, and you play 2 games, Saturday, Sunday, back to back throughout the year. So it's kind of similar to that, not exactly. But they'll have teams travel to a location and then play there. So like every idea, every thought has to be about that sustainability, about growth, about like growing an audience in the initial few years, because like every decision you make matters in terms of making this work.
And that's how you get the girls to watch it. That's really smart.
Hopefully not on sport court.
No,
Or
I
is-
would.
Yeah, that's a good
literally
point
have
right
to-
there.
Sport court.
I'd have to cut my contract.
You mean
probably.
Sport Court's not a sponsor of the Out of System podcast?
No.
But if you're looking,
Depends how much they pay. No. But, so you guys are on Terraflex?
Terraflex, yeah.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, that
so-
was like #1 by the Athletes Council. We're like, we need Terraflex.
Yeah,
Wait, so you guys
Smart.
have do you have your own? Well, obviously, I mean, you're probably going on court 1 or like the main court. Does that mean that court will be set up Terraflex for everyone to use, or just?
Or is
for
it
you
gonna be like
guys to
another
use?
hall? Will they just book
Yeah.
another hall and build?
So
a
I don't know
stadium?
those details.
Yeah.
We got
But-
so many questions.
Yeah.
That's sick though. That's so sick.
When
And
I
then-
know, I'll let you know.
And then in terms of like travel and whatnot, is it like charter? Or is it like are you guys going like
I-
commercial and everything like that, or?
I also don't know if that's been like
Got you.
confirmed,
Finalized.
but
Gotcha.
I
Only
would
Kelsey
err on
worked that into
non-
her contract. First class.
Yeah, everyone
I don't
else.
care
on-
what
Private
They're on
jet.
charter, for sure charter.
That's so
Star
sick.
Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's so sick. Before we let you guys off here, Brian, I had a few questions about. I gutted it in the beginning. I butchered in the beginning, but you gut vans and you renovate it into like kind of homes and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not doing that full time anymore, but
Right.
that was like a little COVID project. We were all cooped up in a little 900 square foot apartment here. They shut down the beach. They shut down everything, and we were like, we need to get out of here. So we started renting vans, like these Sprinter vans that were converted. And we took a couple, and I was basically just like, both of them, I was just like, dude, I could build a better van than this. And it kind of bugged me, and it wouldn't leave me.
How do you have that background? Just out of curiosity. Sorry, out of
He
curiosity.
doesn't. Brian is a serial entrepreneur in ways of like not like starting businesses, but he like wants to be really good at something that he finds a problem with. So the first business was
That's very
the Cook
impressive.
Bread Co. I
Yes,
don't know if you
yes,
guys
of course,
remember
of course,
that.
yeah.
That was really
That
successful.
was just like the quest for the perfect sourdough, and I made it, and I was done.
Still on it? Or you found it? You found it?
No, we found it. I actually haven't baked a loaf of bread since. As soon
Really?
dude, it turned into a
You had
full-time
one
job.
perfect loaf.
Yeah.
And cut it.
No.
Like, all right, done. Put it away. Never again.
Close up
business
shop.
I was just trying to cover my costs, but while perfecting it.
Oh,
Go
okay,
down
that makes
from
sense.
here,
We
you
broke
know.
even on that one.
Yeah, we broke
But
even. Yeah.
I think you taught yourself mostly everything on the vans.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like super crafty and like good with my hands and just good at building stuff. And at Stanford, I was always in the shop. And then going overseas and just playing volley, I just like didn't have time to build anything. And finally, I was just at the point where I was like, I don't care what it is, I need to build something. So we're still renting out those vans up in Northern California, out of Santa Cruz. It's called New Native Camping. If you want to check it out.
Yeah, of
We
course.
should
Um,
do like a little code for the podcast or something.
Hey,
Yeah,
we'll put the
yeah.
link in the
Hey.
bio. Don't worry,
Yeah.
don't worry.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
plug you guys for sure.
Um,
Rob the builder.
But the latest thing, I'm going to plug this. The
it
latest
all.
thing I'm working on is a universal rating system for beach volleyball. It's called True Volley. It's super interesting. You guys got to check it out. But basically, the origin story is I play a ton of chess. And in chess, there's a rating system where every match you play, you either go up or you go down, depending on who you play, if you beat them, draw, whatever. I was playing a bunch of chess out in Japan while we were living out there, and I didn't have much to do, and I was like, dude, why has no one made like a universal rating system for beach volleyball? Like put a number next to every player's name, know exactly how good they are, not just like A, AA, AAA, B, whatever, like a number. I want to compare two of the best players against each other. So I like learned enough Python to make it happen, like just kind of went down the rabbit hole, like took some classes on Code Academy, like talked to this dude from Turkey on Reddit. He like helped me build this little scraper. Perfect. Dude, it was like bootstrapping it. I paid him in Ethereum. And then
Sucker.
yeah.
Got him.
And then just like put it online and was like, hey guys, I made this. And then there was like a little bit of interest in it in the beach volleyball community, and now I'm working on it full time. It's like my job right now, and we're like trying to get people to adopt it as their like rating system, like juniors or USA volleyball or stuff like that. It's really interesting. You got to check it out though.
Dude, that's
It's-
sick.
I remember
it's
when
totally
the list
different.
came out, I was really into it.
Yeah.
It was like the first
Well,
one was the Instagram post of the men's list,
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
women's list.
Well, at the beginning, just because like I had no followers on the channel, I just posted like every year the best players, and now
Yeah,
I've got
there you go.
now I've got a list of, I've got 54,000 players and
Holy.
311,000 matches on there. So like, and the list is
Holy.
extremely accurate. Like if you look at it, it's like you go down the list and you're like, yep. And along the way, I've just been sending it to Taylor Crabb, like, hey, does this pass the eye test every time? I'm like, does this make sense? And he sends it back and he's like, dude. It looks good. And then I can make like betting odds off of it, like all sorts of different stuff out of it.
So it's modeled
pretty
after
interesting.
like the chess.com kind of.
Yeah, it's the
like-
same rating system as chess.com.
Okay,
but I
gotcha.
had to make a ton of changes because beach volleyball is 2-on-2. And so like all the partner switches and everything, it's got like, I had to really tailor it
sense.
to work for beach volleyball, but it's
Yeah.
the same backbone like
Okay.
algorithm.
So you don't win any points through 4-mans or anything?
No,
Like 4-hour
unfortunately.
tournaments? No, nothing like
no.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
So
who
it
entered
wouldn't matter.
all
though.
that information? Like with all the tournaments going on, like
So it's all on bvbinfo.com. It's like
Okay.
basically
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah.
encyclopedia.
yeah, okay.
I scraped it all from there at the beginning, and then since then I've got now I've got a data agreement with BVB Info, College Beach Volleyball, and Volleyball Life, who does the
Right,
brackets
right,
behind
right.
the
Okay,
scenes
okay.
for like pretty much every tournament in America
Okay.
at the amateur level. So it's got a lot of data in there now.
Yeah, yeah. So say if it's self-reported, it could get a little sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not self-reported.
Yeah,
no. It's all entered from the tournament director's side.
Yeah.
And this all came from just chess in Japan.
Pretty much, yeah.
humble beginnings right there.
Wow, that's
Are you guys both like these type of people? Like, will you pick up like something like that? Okay.
No, I'm strictly volleyball.
No, and your
That's not
clothing
bad.
you had talked about a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well,
And
I
your
think
artsy
I'm really
is hard.
creative. Like
Yeah.
I love my creative outlets with like By the Sun, which is my brand, and then I've done photography for a while. We had a YouTube channel for a while, and
I watched a couple of the vids. I enjoyed it. Very artistic. But the ones it was really you guys had a like a sand colored apartment, I swear, or sand colored
yeah,
drapes.
I can't watch
remember.
the videos anymore because
I
I,
wa-
feel
I'll
like
watch
they're
it for
cringy.
you.
He watches
but-
all
Yeah.
content. Like he's like
I'll watch
has
it all.
stuff,
Oh man,
like,
watching
dialed
those
in.
is so
Yeah.
cringe. We were like trying to be like a YouTube couple. Now watching them, we're like,
But that's
"Ugh."
part of that like process of just like throwing
Yeah.
yourself at different things,
Try
and then
it.
whatever
Try
finally sticks and lands. And now we're in such a great place, both like individually. It's great.
Yeah, I mean the most fun part about doing that was like we learned Premiere and we learned like editing and
Yeah.
Photoshop and like all these different skills from doing it. Like the product that we made wasn't that good, but
You
I
acquired
think it's good. I
skills
think it's good.
Good
along-
skills.
I think it's good.
yeah, we had
think
some
it's
fans like you, Gage.
Yeah, yeah. Day
I
one.
think we still get
He had
like
his
$100
notifications on.
every
Ding.
week. off
First
of
one,
that.
first view
Really?
always.
Yeah,
That's
but I
date
don't
night.
All
right
from
there.
Gage.
Well, nowadays it's
now
not.
it's like lunch.
Yeah,
$100
now it's a
from
salad,
Gage
but-
each week. Reloading.
The for you,
all you.
and obviously your background in clothing. We were just talking about this actually, because slunks in boys volleyball, it's crazy.
Slunkachinos.
Everywhere you walk into nationals, everything slunks. And we're a big fan. Like we do like some collaboration stuff with them. And we were talking about like on the women's side, there's no like product. Like I'm just talking any product, whether it's hair bands or whatever. Like
Tote
that's-
bags, bro.
that is like that on the women's side. I feel like right now, where it's like every single player
Yeah.
is using that product.
Like tapped into the volleyball culture. you
Because
mean.
people always ask us to make more women's products, and we're like, well, it's difficult for us because we like.
we are not the guys for that.
Yeah, but think about this. Men are such simple creatures, though. Women, not well, at least to me, not so much. I
wanna watch
Yeah, yeah, 100%. No, I know, 100%. No, I don't mean it in a bad way or anything like that. But for me, like, you have different tastes. You have the different this. For guys like 6 shorts, slap them on. You know, like guys like sell like 6 shirt, I'll buy it. You know, but women get such different tastes, and like the fashion industry is way more like colorful in the volleyball world, at least. I don't know.
But is there any like product like that on the women's side that you see? It's like, oh, that, or there's like a space for something. Because Zana was like, there's no women's playing bathing suit. She told
Yeah.
us.
I haven't tapped into really like the playing side of it
Yeah.
as far as like because we have to wear uniforms, right, with like indoor.
Yeah.
But I think I mean I've been sponsored by Adidas and they do really nice leisure wear that like the girls really loved when we were Adidas with the national team and we could travel in. So that's always huge. But for me, like By the Sun is really about like loungewear and swim, and then we do talls and regular. So it was about making a beautiful product that, because most tall women can never find pants that fit their legs, and that is
Right.
like, it's been so fun to watch all my teammates like buy them, love them, and be like so excited and shocked that they go even sometimes too long on people. So that's kind of like the niche that I'm going down, is really making an inclusive product. And eventually we kind of want to make unisex at some point, but it's more like fashion than athleticism, I guess, if that makes sense.
we should let them go. We've been holding them here for a while.
Yeah, we'll let you guys go. Well,
No, we get
one
before
question.
you close it up.
One question.
No, I
You
got
go.
one. Okay, one question. I have one thing before you go.
Oh, I'm going.
Oh, I thought you said you have one question. No, you have to explain when you try to get her on in January.
Oh,
you have to give the background
I'm trying
of
to
that.
serenade you.
This is why it's so shocking that I'm here.
Well, the thing was, so we
You
originally
got to give a
asked Kelsey-
sample of the serenade.
Yeah, I'll serenade. I'll serenade. 100%.
Well,
Well, let me get the
I
background here.
didn't know you guys at all,
100%.
but
No,
I'm
you're
always
not gonna
open
be
to do
paying it.
podcasts. I'm like, I love doing them. I love growing the sport, whatever. So I'm super open. But when you guys reached out,
100%. You will not be painted as a bad guy in the story. I promise you that. I'm always the bad guy. I'm okay with that. No, but we originally reached out to you. I think it was around closer to December time, getting you on. I think we're like, oh, okay, it didn't line up. And then I think you had a really important Champions League match or important on that match day. We reached out like, pod today. You're like, and, that's. I would say I'm sorry for that.
Gage is
but
notorious for
yeah,
that.
100%. I'm notorious for like, hey, you want to just shoot? I'm like, I'm just looking around. Got nothing to do right now. Let's shoot. You know what I'm saying? We're a little better than that. But we asked you on your game day, important game day. Obviously, you're a very professional individual and you like to be focused. So, but the way I sent it, probably best you probably didn't open it because you were probably mad already that we text you podcast right now. And then I sent you I want to say like a 20, 30-second voice message. I was like, Kelsey Robinson, like imagine you were like locked in a game day and you're like, I hate these guys. Turn it on. You see your Gage, like look at that. Like probably the best you didn't open that. And then we ran each other here.
Yeah.
We ran each other here, right there in that bathroom.
I
Right there.
never received the message.
Yeah.
And then divine intervention, we
So,
met
A
2
higher
weeks
power.
ago.
A higher power.
Yeah.
And then we got you here. And then here
And
we
you're
are.
like, open your messages. So I was like,
Yeah.
no way, I never got a message.
Did you
And
listen
then
to it?
I think we all listened to it.
Yeah, we listened to
I
it out
didn't.
on the pier.
Yeah.
I wasn't here. Well,
I
I'm glad you
played it on
enjoyed
loud
it.
for
Yeah. Oh,
everybody.
good. Glad. I'll sing to everyone. I don't
I was
care.
in the
100%.
kitchen over at the apartment when I'm like, and I hear him like, what is going on?
Which is not like it's a pretty normal occurrence.
He's just on his phone.
It made for a more fun story, I would say.
Oh, absolutely,
to
absolutely.
Be here.
That's why I feel like if you live your life, you're like, do it for the story. You're living a pretty good life, or a short life, either one. you know?
Everybody who
I-
meets him tells me he's the most interesting person they've met. So he's like,
You have a voice for this, though. I was really
Yeah.
impressed with the intro. I was
Well,
like,
thank
oh.
you. Yeah, I usually butcher those, so thank
He
you.
does.
That's why they made me do it to begin with. I'm not even kidding.
he
So
always
bad at
mispronounces
it.
everybody's name.
Yeah, because I was so bad at it. I was like I forgot someone's name on the pod, and I looked him dead in the eye for like 10 seconds, and then Mike or Joe had to come in.
Came in for the save.
Yeah, came for the save. So I'm glad I have these two. But we'll let you guys go. Well, actually, before we let you guys go, is there anything you guys want to plug really quick? Any more companies? Your clothing brand, you said a couple times. Plug the camera here. We'll link in the bio.
I
Oh,
would
this
just
camera,
say,
my bad, my
oh,
bad.
that
This camera, my bad.
I would say for all my talls and smalls, if you're looking for ethical loungewear and swim by the sun. That's my
It's
pitch.
really well made stuff. I can attest to it. It's like semi
We want to do
unisex.
unisex.
but
I would be really. The first round wasn't. Is
Micah,
a
you can
Averill
pull
would
it
rock
off.
it.
You,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
Averill
you
for
go.
sure.
That's a way to say it.
But eventually we'll get there.
Yeah, and then for the volley dorks out there, I don't know if there's anyone interested in volleyball that watches this podcast, but truevolley.com. Check it out.
And we'll put those all link in the bio, guys. Just want to thank you guys again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you guys for
appreciate
coming.
It's a great shirt.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
it's a
me.
great shirt, by the way, too.
I just picked it up.
Yeah.
Dude, what?
We gotta get Brian one. We gotta get Brian one too. And then also another shout out to Waterman's Bar and Grill here, Hermosa Beach Pier. Link in the bio if you want to check it out. Awesome drinks on tap and then great food. And also allvolleyball.com. If you want to be a 4-man world champion, Olympic champion, or 3 scrubs that play occasional grass volleyball, they got all your products. There's layers to this from the top all the way to the bottom. Let me tell you. And just remember, if you can't handle the heat, just get out of the kitchen. This has been another episode presented by allvolleyball.com.